Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you tonight to the Church of God, a Wednesday night Bible study. We've been having pretty good Bible studies here lately, thank God, and we just hope that He's with us tonight. And we'll pray for Him with us tonight. And we'll carry on. We are in Numbers chapter 31. 31. You know, it's kind of hard to believe that we started this last November. And we started forgetting of the Bible, and we're only in Numbers. But that means there was a lot of good discussions. You know, try to cut out all the reading and get some discussion time. Doesn't matter what's about, as long as we're talking about the Bible. That's all that matters. All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer tonight. Anybody got a special request, prayer, bring up some Lord? Yes. I guess my wife, Melissa, feeling down right now, kind of the weather. And also there's another guy, Jay, Casey, his wife, Kim. Kim. Yeah, Kim. Not doing real well, they don't know what to do with her. So she'll turn up her prayer. All right. Our Father in heaven, we come to you tonight, Lord, in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Father God, we ask you now, Lord, please forgive us and every one of us. We've all fallen short of your glory. Have mercy on us, Lord, have mercy on us all. Father, we ask you tonight, Lord, to be with us. To be with me as I read these words and have a good discussion with us tonight, Father God. And let us learn your words and learn about you, Father God. That's the whole thing. Because the more we learn about you, the closer we can be to you, Father. And that's our goal, Lord, is to get closer to you. Well, let nothing be read or said or anything that nothing that is not from you come out of our lips tonight, Father. Father, open our eyes, our ears, our hearts, Father God. Father, everyone having a prayer this Lord, Kim and Melissa and Melissa Fuller and Bosky and of course Pastor Steve and his wife, Father God. And anyone that I did not mention, Lord, you know who they are, Father. You know each and every one of them. Father, we ask you to anoint this service tonight, Lord, and we just bless us, Father God. Father, we ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, let's get started. Chapter 31 and verse 1. All right, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterwards shalt thou be gathered unto the people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, arm some of yourselves unto the Lord, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to the war. So there were delivered out of 1,000 of Israel, 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war, with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hands. And they warred against the Midianites, as the Lord commanded Moses, and said, and they slew all the males, and they slew the kings of Midian, besides the rest of them that were slain, namely Eva and Rekem and Zur and Hur and Reba, 5 kings of Midian, Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives, and their little ones, and took the spoils of all their cattle, and of all their flocks, and of all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil, and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey of the spoil unto Moses with Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp of the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the congregation, went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the army, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, caused the children of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore, kill every male among the little, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women children, they have not known a man by lying with him. Keep alive for yourselves. And do ye abide without the camp 7 days, whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, and purify all your remnant, and all that is made of skins, and all the work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead. Everything that may abide the fire, ye shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation. And all that abideth not the fire, ye shall make go through the water. And ye shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and ye shall be clean. And afterward ye shall come into the camp. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, thou and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between them that took the war upon them, who went out to battle, and between all the congregation. And Levi, a tribute unto the Lord of the men of war which went out of the battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons of the and of the beasts, and of the asses, and of the sheep. Take it of their half, and give it unto Eleazar the priest, for a heave offering of the Lord. And of the children of Israel's half, thou shalt take 1 portion of 50 of the persons, of the beasts, of the asses, and of the flocks, of all manner of the beasts, and give them unto the Levites, which keep the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of the war had caught, was 600,000, 70,000, and 5,000 sheep, and threescore and 12,000 beeves, and threescore and 1,000 asses, and 30 and 2,000 persons in all. Yes, sir. I apologize. I wasn't looking. I was busy. I was getting into this.
I understand. I just want to touch base with like 26 and 27 where it's talking about prey.
Yes.
That actually means plunder.
Take some of the prey that was taken.
Yes. That the word prey in that paragraph or in that verse means plunder, and also in 27. Does anybody know what beeves is?
No, that was a question that would come up when we reached the topic point. What is it?
That's cattle.
Is that cattle?
Yes.
So at first, when I first read this, I thought it was talking about bees. And they just had a B and an S on the end of it.
No, it's actually referring to cattle. And in verse 30, you see the word again, beeves.
Right.
And that's also declaring as cattle.
Right.
Verse 33,
Yeah, it's in there a couple of times.
the word booty.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody getting the wrong idea about God talking about booty in the scripture.
Right. Well, sugar thing I had not laugh about it. It really did. Okay, I mean, that's. I thought it might have been healthy cattle.
Well, I'm just letting you know that in that context, it's also meaning plunder. They're going to divide the plunder. When it's saying, because when he was reading it, being the rest of prey,
Right.
the prey means plunder as well. In other words, they're fixing to divide what they had plundered, what they took. And then when you get to verse 33 and 34, and 312,000 beeves, which is cattle, does anybody know how many that is?
72.
72 what?
Cattle.
No, it's 72,000.
Oh, thousand, I'm sorry, I didn't say 1,000. It wasn't underlined.
And then 361,000 of donkeys
Right.
is 61.
1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy how they do that, they three score for all the sixties, and you just add that, you know, what's remaining onto that, 60 be 70.
But, you know, if I weren't a Christian and I weren't where I was in the Lord reading this passage, and we all know war is nasty. I promise you, I know all about it. But this is when they want to kill the males. They're killing the women that have had children or are going to have children. That's kind of some ruthless killing.
It is, and they already had them in captive, and that's why he's telling the ones they had in captive, that the women they had been with, they remain, and they get killed.
And look at verse 21, and it says, and Ezra the priest said unto the men of war which went to battle, this is an ordinance, which means requirement, of the law which the Lord Jehovah commanded Moses. What I'm saying to y'all, were these folks that says, my God is all love, and there's no repercussions for going against him.
Yeah.
I have a difference to say between verse 1 and verse 25.
Right.
I think that's pretty ruthless.
It is. I mean, it really is. I mean, you stop and consider this. You can kind of put yourself in their places where they're at right now. And the Lord tells them to do this. You know, and it is pretty awful. I mean, it really is. But then, you know, look what happened whenever, with what we had read in the past, whenever Korah and his group, remember they went against God when he swallowed them up in the earth. And then covered the earth back up where they can't come out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've done read through some scriptures from Genesis to where we are now of things that in order for the Lord to be able to move forward with man, there had to be some purifying.
Right.
As you've read before, like when Moses come off the mountain, the
Yes.
10 Commandments, they were worshiping the idol. He said, who stands for God, stand on this side. Who stands for
That's right.
the Baal or the silver and the gold calf, stand on that side. And he made them slew one another.
That's right.
So I'm just saying, and then it talked about the fire purifying, which I think everybody in here understands that if you stick something in the fire long enough, it's got any impurities in it, it'll kill anything in it.
All antibodies and everything. I mean, you know, that's why we cook, purify the meat that we eat or whatever we're eating. We purify it. And wash it with water as well. I mean, but we got to understand sometimes too, you know, that our God, He is a gracious God, but He's also a stern God as well. And He will keep His promise regardless. But the way we look at death is just so horrible. But the way God looks at death, it's really not. It's just the end of our time here. And when we go to Him, if we believe in Him and accept Him, then we go to Him. So it's not that bad. And He understands that. We don't. Because we're here and we're still breathing, we're alive. So we think it's the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Is to die. But the worst thing in the world really is to die without a life afterwards.
That's right.
You know, if we're all saved, we're going to die, we're going to have a life afterwards. We've got glory coming. Hope of glory is already in us, in our hearts, through Jesus Christ. So we are blessed in that area. But any more insights or comments? Okay. All right, wrote that on 37, man. Okay, verse 37.
I just want to throw this in there before you start.
Yeah.
When you get to where it's talking about the 70 and 12 and all the different numbers, if you'll stop, I'll give you the amount of that for
Okay.
those who may not know what those amounts mean.
Right. All right. And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615. There you go.
That's 675.
675.
But
So 600, 60. So 60 plus 15 is 75.
Yep.
So there you go, 675. Yeah, me and my wife was trying to figure all this out today, and I knew this, but for some reason that night I could not come up with an answer. No matter how many times we Googled it, Google gave us all their kind of answer, but we all know what Google's about. You know, sorry, that's sad news for you, but Google is not correct. Okay, and the beeves, which is the cattle, were 30 and 6,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 70.
312 is 72.
72. And the asses were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 61.
61.
61. Okay, and the persons were 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 30 and 2 persons. Okay, now what is that pertaining to, that 30 and 2 persons?
The tribute is a tax.
Okay,
The word tribute in this, in both in 37 and in 40,
right,
it's another word for tax.
okay, it was 30 and 2 persons.
So 32 people.
32.
Yeah.
Okay, and Moses gave the tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering, unto Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded him. And of the children of Israel's half, which Moses divided from the men that wore it. Now the half that pertained unto the congregation was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,500 sheep, and 30 and 6,000 beasts, and 30,000 asses and 500, and 16,000 persons. Well, there was a lot that was accomplished in this war that was captured. Was spoiled, a lot of spoil. Even of the children of Israel's half, Moses took one portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Levites, which kept the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the officers, which were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands, the captains of hundreds, came near unto Moses. And they said unto Moses, Thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war, which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us. We have therefore brought an oblation for the Lord. What every man hath gotten of jewels of gold, chains and bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels. And all of the gold of the offering that they offered unto the Lord, of the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. For the men of war had taken spoils, every man for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tabernacle of the congregation for a memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord. Okay, anybody have any questions in this chapter we have just read? Does anyone understand or know why we actually went to war this time? I mean, because it basically told us, the Lord told Moses to get the men together and go to war against the Midianites. I mean, this is still fighting for the land of Canaan, isn't that correct?
Yes.
So, just out of the blue, to me, it seems like when you're just reading this, you don't understand that the whole goal is to get to Canaan, the land of milk and honey, that God promises have to be taken.
We got to understand that the promised land was actually occupied.
Right. You can have it.
Does everybody know that?
The
Israel-
people are already there.
The promised land, Canaan land, was already occupied by the Mennonites. And now, in order for them to conquer that, they have to go in there and push them out. So,
It seems like a pretty hard thing to do, doesn't it? I mean, was there anybody that was previously in Canaan actually believed in the Lord or even knew the Lord? They kind of had their own gods. So, I mean, this is where you come in and prove that our God is the thing. Nothing of nothing at all. Okay. Chapter 32. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Jazer, and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place was a place for cattle. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and unto the princes of the congregation, saying, Adaroth and Dibon and Jazer and Nimrah and Heshbon and Elealah and Shaddam and Nebo and Beon. even the country which the Lord smote before the congregation of Israel is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle. Wherefore, said they, if we have found grace in thy sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession, and bring us not over Jordan. And Moses said unto the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here? And wherefore discourage ye the heart of the children of Israel from going over into the land the Lord hath given them? Thus did your father, when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea, to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, and they should not go into the land the Lord hath given them. And the Lord's anger was kindled at the same time, and he swore, saying, surely none of the men that came up out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swore unto Abraham, and to Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me.
Anybody know what that means?
Right. The
Have
ones
not.
previous before they came out of, when God delivered them out of Egypt, he told them to give them the land, milk and honey, which is Canaan. Okay, well, a lot of them went against God, and they did not want to. I mean, over the 40 years that they wanted on the 4-day trip, they wanted to do it. God punished them for what they did. They kept trying to turn against God. Is that correct? And third, okay, because they have not wholly followed me. Save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Kenizzah, and Joshua, the son of Nun, for they had wholly followed the Lord. Those were the two that came back and brought back good promises about the land. Now, the other 10, they did not. They were saying there were too many people there, land of giants, and they couldn't take it. Discouragement, so all the murmuring started. Okay, and the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was consumed.
Okay, right there.
There you go.
You just found out why he made them wander.
Yeah.
Because there had to be a thinning. Y'all got to remember that they complained every time, even after God did a miracle.
Yeah.
They complained. When they got fed manna from above, they complained.
Complain.
They got water out of a rock where they weren't water at all. They complained. They had shade by day and light by night.
Yes.
But they went in circles. They consistently went in circles. And I'm going to tell you how they didn't know that they were going in circles. Because in the desert, over in that part of the world, the wind blows anywhere from 25 to 35 knots just on a regular day. I can walk from here to that wall, and when I walk, turn around and look, you can't tell anybody walked there ever. The sand covers the tracks.
No track.
So as they were wandering, there was no, because they're out in the desert, in this part of the desert where they're at, there's no markings. You have no idea. It's just like, y'all know the head sheep, there's one sheep that's in charge when you have a herd. And wherever that sheep goes, the rest of them follow.
Right.
Well,
There's no
Moses
track.
and Aaron was doing the leading, but they were consistently going in circles.
But like you said, how windy it was, it had to be blowing them sideways, so they wasn't walking a straight line anyway.
Well,
They were probably walking in a lot of circles too.
that's what I'm saying. Well, they may have went to the boundaries and turn around and they would go back. But again, they didn't realize what was happening. But at the same time, God knew when they brought them out of bondage out of Egypt, because there were some of them was murmuring and complaining. Well, why don't you just let us go back to Egypt? They wanted to go back to bondage. And when they started murmuring and complaining, that's how come he put an age limit on it. 20 years and down is the only ones that's going to see the promised land. Because the elders, those who knew better, was the ones doing complaining.
You know, just said that still allowed for God to keep his promise, because he promised the land.
He kept his promise.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to find that out later on, but I want us to understand right there, it tells us they wandered in the desert for 40 years, just in that verse alone. And
That's crazy.
if you actually do a search and a study on how long it would actually take to literally walk from Egypt on a straight line to Israel is 4-day journey. That's a 4-day journey, and it took them 40 years.
So
They
exactly,
carry all these animals with them. Where did the animals come from? I'm confused. No, you're talking about all those animals.
Well, when they come out of, when they
Where
came,
did they go?
when they come out of Egypt, they had animals that belonged to them.
They
They
took those to the desert?
they came with them. They had to have
with
stuff-
them following them around through the desert.
Yes, and they having calves, and they having pups, and they having gooselings and geeselings and pigeons and all that other stuff. They were having all that stuff. This whole flock stayed together for 40 years. Now, did the animals live that long? I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is
They're
animals
following.
have animals.
Right, they're more.
Yeah, but don't tell how many of them got ate along the way.
But then they had that you got to remember too, where we was reading earlier, the amount of sacrifices that they made. And it had to be the best of the best. It couldn't be one with a messed up limb.
No way I can do that.
And it goes to the, that actually is a stem from where Cain and Abel, why did Cain kill Abel? Because Abel gave the best of everything that he had to God. His first 10%, his first fruits went to God. Cain's fruits was off the bottom and the last of what he had left over. That's how come God was angry.
Right.
And then Cain got angry because he was jealous of Abel and he killed him. That was the first death that ever took place on this planet. So anyway, bringing it back around to what you're saying and what this is saying, this is still going on.
Right.
Because people want to give seconds and thirds to God when he requires the best of everything we got. That's how come, as we've also discussed, we don't worship on Saturday, because Saturday used to be the Sabbath. But when Christ rose, he rose on the first day of the week, which is Sunday. That, as a church, Christian church, represents our first fruits of our week we given to God. That's what it's supposed to represent. That's how come the
Some of
Sabbath.
what we made from the week before, which a lot of times when my tithing, when I got to where I don't do that now, I try to figure out exactly my 10%. I don't want to give any more than that. Well, it's not that way now. No, I give what I feel like I'm going to be getting throughout the week, and a little extra. That way I know that I'm covered if we have a good blessed day at work. Because we live at work day to day, and we never really know. So come Sunday morning, if we're tithing now, I'm trying to pay it in the week before, that week we're fixing to start. Since we started covering all of it, I mean, it's just recent that this was started with. That's what we're trying to do.
But I want us to understand that the tithing, the financial side of it is great, because God will pour out the windows of heaven and he'll bless you. But tithing is 10% of anything of your life.
Right.
If there's 24 hours in a day, we should actually be spending with time with the Lord at least 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Every day.
Throughout the day, and I don't do it consecutively for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Mine's broke up through the day. I don't think God really cares as long as he gets your time. It's just like if you was in a room with somebody for 24 hours, 7 days a week, if they never spoke to you, how much longer would you want them standing around your room? I mean, they just sit there and be quiet. If we are children of God, just like we would go to our own parents and ask for things,
There you go.
he wants us to ask him for things. He knows what we have need of before we ever ask.
Yeah, he already knows our wants, our wishes, I mean, our dreams, the whole 9 yards, he already knows.
But I want us to understand, like I said, with the way these people are laying stuff out, and a lot of the things they were doing it contrary to the way God had told Moses and Aaron, and now this other character. Yeah, they weren't doing it the way God had asked him to do it. So now his anger is kindled, and the word kindled right there means burned.
Right.
I mean, when
Like kindling, whenever you're gonna start a fire, you got to kindling.
so he's But I want us to understand, I know a lot of people, when you start saying the word tithe, everybody's mind automatically goes to finances.
Right.
That's not true.
It's more than just financing, it's everything.
10% of your day should belong to God. Now, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right, so I mean, there's a lot of us, and finally I said that about myself, so, lo and behold, the good Lord blessed me with being able to do this. On Wednesday nights, and I've been trying for so long, and finally a door opened, so I ran through it. Not even knowing what I'm doing. I still ran through it. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep running through it. But I mean, there's always something for us to do. We can always do the Lord's work. We're all called to do it. And not one of us is better than the other. That's not it. It's just we're all called to do His work, and that's what we got to do. And like I said, 2 hours and 40 minutes every day, every 24 hours. That is a lot. And it's hard to do. But to be surprised throughout the day, some of the blessings you bless somebody, you're doing the Lord's work. I mean, you don't consider some things. Can't get nitpicky on, which is what I was trying to do for a long time on tithing. I was, I admitted I was wrong about that, But during this Bible study, I've learned so much through this. And even though there's been a lot of nights, we've done just a lot of reading, so there's a lot of stuff in here that kind of wasn't really interesting. But it all does pertain, because Jesus, as like Brother Steve said, he has one foot in the past, and the other foot in the future, and he holds the present. So that's just how it is. All right, you make anything else? Anybody know where I left off this time?
I do.
14. Okay, I think it's 14. There you go. All right, verse 14. And behold, you are risen up in your father's stead, and increase of sinful men, to augment yet the fierce anger of the Lord towards Israel. And if you turn away from after him, he will yet again lead them in the wilderness, and ye shall destroy all the people. And they came near unto him and said, we will build sheepfolds here for our cattle, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will go ready armed before the children of Israel, until we have brought them unto the place. And our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return unto our houses until the children of Israel have inherited every man his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on yonder side Jordan or forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side of Jordan eastward. And Moses said unto them, if ye will do this thing, if ye will go armed before the Lord to the Lord, and will go all of you armed over Jordan before the Lord, until he hath driven out his enemies from before him, and the land be subdued before the Lord, and then afterward ye shall return, and be guiltless before the Lord, and before Israel, and this land shall be your possession before the Lord. But if ye will not do so, behold, ye have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build you cities for your little ones, and folds for your sheep, and do that which hath proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spake unto Moses, saying, thy servants will do as my Lord commanded. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our cattle shall be there in the cities of Israel. But thy servants will pass over, every man armed for war, before the Lord to battle, as my Lord said. So concerning them, Moses commanded Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over Jordan, every man armed to battle before the Lord, and the land shall be subdued before you, and ye shall give them the land of Gilead for possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possession among you in the land of Canaan. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as the Lord has said unto thy servants, so will we do. We will pass over armed before the Lord into the land of Canaan, that the possession of our inheritance on this side of Jordan may be ours. And Moses gave unto them, even to the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, and unto the half of the tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the king of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land which the cities thereof in the coast, even the cities of the country round about. And the children of Gad built Dibon, and Ataroth, and Aurora, and Ataroth, Shaban, or Shoban, and Zuzar, and Jobehah. Some of these are really hard to pronounce. Okay, and Beth Nimrah, and Bethlehem, fenced cities and folds for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Eliad, and Kirjahaim, and Nebo, and Baal-Meon, their names being changed. And Shema, and gave other names unto the cities which they built. And the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it, and dispossessed the Amorite which was in it. Moses gave Gilead unto Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he dwelt therein. And Jar, the son of Manasseh, went and took the small towns thereof, and called them Havoth Joar. And Nobath went and took Kenath, and the villages thereof, and called it Nobath, after his own name. Okay, any questions on what all is going on here? There is one question I have. It says in Nebo and Baal-Meon in verse 38, their names being changed. What was the reason for the change of their names? Or is there, we know, it may not even say anything. Well, it's kind of curiosity when I was reading this.
I don't know. I
weeks ago.
know that I learned that there's a lot of folks that are in the Old Testament that their name, Abraham was started out as Abram, and Sarah was Sarah, and it was changed to Sarah. And I don't know, what the purpose of the name change is, I don't know.
I guess really it kind of doesn't matter if only you know what it is now.
I never studied the name change piece, but I can tell you that if God changed her name, he changed it for a reason.
Right. Okay. Anybody have any questions on chapter we read? All right, let's continue on. Let's get another one in. Chapter 33. These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to the journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are their journeys according to their goings out. And they departed from Ramses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow, after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with an high hand on the side of the Egyptians. For the Egyptians buried all the firstborn which the Lord had smitten among them upon their gods. Also the Lord executed judgments. And the children of Israel removed from Ramses and pitched in Succoth. And they departed from Succoth and pitched in Etham, which is in the edge of the wilderness. And they removed from Etham and turned again into Piharath, which is before Baal-Zephon. And they pitched before Migdol. And they departed from before Piharath and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness. And went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and pitched in Morah. And they removed from Morah and came unto Elam. And in Elam were 12 fountains of water, and 70 palm trees, and they pitched there. And they removed from Elam and encamped by the Red Sea. And they removed from the Red Sea and encamped by the wilderness of Sin. And they took their journey out of the wilderness of Sin and encamped in Dophgah. And they departed from Dophgah and encamped in Elush. And they removed from Elush and encamped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim and pitched in the wilderness of Sinai. And they removed from the desert of Sinai and pitched at the Kibroth Hattahavah. And they departed from Kibroth Hattahavah and encamped in Hazeroth. And they departed from Hazeroth and pitched in Rithmah. And they departed from Rithmah and pitched at Rimmon Perez. And they departed from Rimmon Perez and pitched in Libnah. And they removed from Libnah and pitched in Rasah. And they journeyed from Rasah and pitched in Kehilatha. And they went from Kehilatha and pitched in the Mount of Shephar. And they removed from Mount Shephar and encamped in Haradah. And they removed from Haradah and pitched in Mechaloth. And they removed from Mechaloth and encamped at Tahath. And they departed from Tahath and pitched at Tarah. And they removed from Tarah and pitched in Mithkah. And they went from Mithkah and pitched in Hashmonah. And they departed from Hashmonah and encamped at Mothra. And they departed from Mothra and pitched in Ben Jachin. And they moved from Ben Jachin and encamped in Horagid. Okay, and they went from Horagid and pitched in Jephatha. And they removed from Jephatha and encamped at Ebronah. And they departed from Ebronah and encamped at Ezion-Geber. And they removed from Ezion-Geber and pitched in the wilderness of Zin, which is Kadesh. And they removed from Kadesh and pitched in Mount Hor, in the edge of the land of Edom. And Adam, the priest, went up in the Mount of Hor at the commandment of the Lord and died there. In the 40th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the first day of the 5th month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. Okay, I'd just like to point out that there's proof right there that they were there 40 years. But he just said that they were 40 years when they came out of Egypt. Now, this is kind of a rundown of what it is. Remember where they went when they came out of Egypt. Okay, verse 40. And King Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of children of Israel. And they departed from Mount Hor and pitched in Zalmanah. And they departed from Zalmanah and pitched by Punon. And they departed from Punon and pitched in Abath. And they departed from Abath and pitched in Ejubarium, in the border of Moab. And they departed from Aram and pitched in Dibon-Gad. And they removed from Dibon-Gad and encamped in Ammon-Diblathaim. And they removed from Ammon-Diblathaim and pitched in the mountains of Abram before Nebo. And they departed from the mountains of Abram and pitched in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. And they pitched by Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth even unto the Abel Shum in the plains of Moab. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye are passed over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall drive out all inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and pluck down all their high places. Okay, I've got a question here. What is it's calling the pictures?
Carved figures.
This figure that they carve in. Right?
I mean, they didn't have Sony
Right.
or Snapshot or any of that stuff. So
Okay, so it would have to be carved.
it was carved pictures.
Yeah, and then destroy all the molten images. That would be, cast metal, molten images.
And the quit pluck down is completely destroy it all.
Took it all away. Okay. And ye shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein. For I have given you the land to possess. And ye shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance among your families, and to the Lord ye shall give the more inheritance, and to the fewer ye shall give the less inheritance. Either every man's inheritance shall be in the place where his lot falleth. According to the tribes of your fathers ye shall inherit. But if ye will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which you let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes, and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein you dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them. Well, it's kind of a Steve warning, but he's telling them there, when they go in, to take everyone out, to get rid of them.
And if you don't take them out, he's gonna make them a thorn in your side.
That's right, a thorn in your side, and what God wants to do for them, he'll do to you.
But
Man, it's pretty stern, I'm just saying, everybody would kind of heed the warning and do as he said. Okay, is there anything, any other comments on the chapter we just read? If God had given the orders to drive out Canaanites. Well, we're starting to get pretty good here. All right, let's carry on, chapter 34. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall unto you for an inheritance, even the land of Canaan with the coast thereof. Then your south border shall be from the wilderness of Zin, along by the coast of Eden, and your south border shall be the outmost coast of the salt sea eastward. And your borders shall turn from the south of the ascent of Africa and pass on to Zin. And going forth there shall be from the south to Kadesh Barnea, and shall go on to Hazar Adar, and pass on to Asmon. And the border shall fetch its compass from Asmon unto the river of Egypt, and the goings out of it shall be at the sea. And as far as the western border, ye shall even have the great sea for a border. This shall be your west border, and this shall be your north border. From the great sea ye shall point out your mount Horeb, and Mount Horeb ye shall point out your border unto the entrance of Hamath, and the goings forth of the border shall be to Zidon. And the border shall go on to Zipron, and the goings out of it shall be at Hazar Enan. This shall be your north border. And ye shall point out your east border from Hazar Enan to Shephan, and the coast shall go down from Shephan to Riblah on the east side of Ain, and the border shall descend and shall reach unto the side of the sea of Shinnereth eastward, and the border shall go down to Jordan, and the goings out of it shall be at the salt sea. This shall be your land with the coast thereof round about. And Moses commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which ye shall inherit by lot, which the Lord commanded to give unto the 9 tribes and to the half tribes. For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance, and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance. The 2 tribes and a half tribe have received their inheritance on this side Jordan, near Jericho, eastward, toward the sunrise. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, These are the names of the men who shall divide the land unto you: Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun. And ye shall take one prince of every tribe to divide the land by inheritance. And the name of the men are those of the tribe of Judah: Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and the tribe of children of Simeon, Shemuel the son of Ammihud. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Eliad the son of Chislon, and the prince of the tribe of children of Dan, Bukai the son of Jobai. Okay, the prince of the children of Joseph, with the tribe of the children of Manasseh, Hamiel the son of Ephod, And the prince of the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Kemuel, the son of Shittan. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Zebulun, Elizaphan, the son of Parnach. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Issachar, Paltiel, the son of Azan. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Asher, Ahia, the son of Shalom. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Pedemiel, the son of Ammihud. These are they whom the Lord commanded to divide the inheritance unto the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. Any insights on chapter 34?
Verse 3, verse 12. Anybody have an idea what the salt sea is?
And your south border shall be from the waters of Edom on the coast of Edom, and your south border shall be the outmost coast of the salt sea eastward. Now, I don't know my geography. I cannot tell you where any of this is.
The salt sea.
Dead Sea.
That's the Dead
It's the
Sea.
Dead Sea.
You can actually float in that river, in that sea. You can just float. There ain't nothing living in it. You can have a good swim at that.
Right.
That's the biggest swimming pool in the world.
If you'd want to swim there.
Yeah.
You may not want to, because it probably wouldn't live either.
That's right. And then
Yeah.
verse 12, it brings it up again, salt sea. I just want everybody to understand that means Dead Sea.
Yeah, the salt sea.
The Great Sea is the Mediterranean. 6, 7.
Yes.
Mediterranean.
The Great Sea.
I want y'all to keep in mind too, these are the original boundaries.
Right. And this is before Noah's time, right? No.
No, we don't pass Noah.
Yeah, that was.
We don't went on
Sorry
past
about
Noah.
that, yeah,
But no,
I kind of went sideways.
the actual these are not the boundaries. I mean, some of them still are, but these are not the boundaries in the modern day Israel. I mean, they still have the Mediterranean, they still have the Dead Sea,
Right.
but they've kind of like been cramped into a small corner. The original foundation and all that it's not there anymore.
No,
Some of it is, some of it
the
ain't.
waters are here.
Yes,
The water is now.
yes.
Yeah, 'cause I was kind of wondering, I mean, you know, Canaan is in Israel, right?
Yeah.
But they're still fighting for it today. It's kind of crazy. Well, any more questions? You got any? Well, it's, chapter 34, 35. Well, we got just a couple of minutes. Just go ahead and call it a night. We'll be here for a while. All right. Sure, no more questions or anything? Anybody have any insights on what's going on? What they're doing? So they are about to get in the land of Canaan. All right. Go to our Lord in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come to you tonight, Lord. We ask you, Father God, to be with each and every one of us tonight, Father, in this week. We ask the words that we read tonight. We just pray for understanding knowledge. Every little bit of knowledge helps us to get closer to you, Father. Be with us and bless us and forgive us when we ask, Father God, and have mercy on us, Father. Father, we ask now, Lord, to grant us all pardon and mercy as we travel in and out this week, and bring us all back at the next appointed time. Father, we just thank you for everything you do and everything you're doing. Father, we give you this prayer in the name of your most precious Son. And we all say, Amen. Well, I'm losing focus trying to.
There you go. They'll give you a picture shot of it. I'll try to take a picture of that next week and I'll put it up on the board. Let's see, you got the Mediterranean. Now, those different names that you're mentioning all, keep in mind, Edom, all these start making their own sections, where it's talking about fencing, whatever fencing and closing themselves
Right,
off.
right.
This is what these sections are. See, there's the Jordan River.
Okay.
But see, the Red Sea was right here. When they crossed over the Red Sea, they should have been right at the foot of Canaan. Yeah, I mean, they should have been right at the edge of Canaan land.
Well, she was.
Or,
There she is again.
well, this is actually Canaan up here.
Mama's putting.
But this is all of Israel today.
I mean,
But it's been shrunk,
look,
which
yeah, she's
I
there.
believe it's,
just on the next
it
page.
tells you.
I got it from
I
my,
haven't studied the maps.
I got from this time. Well, I'm just saying, when you study, this
There
is
it
your,
is, Kingdom's Promise.
this is,
Oh, okay,
there you go.
yeah,
And what we'll do is I'll try to get pictures of this for next week, and we'll stick them up there.
yeah.
A visual really helps a lot of
Yeah,
times.
it does. I mean, it's one thing, you know, I've never really studied even the maps. I haven't got that far into all my homework. I guess now I need to.
Let's see, the Red Sea come up into here, but again, the Promised Land, this is to the south of Israel, the Red Sea down here.
Egypt, you come across.
And this was Jerusalem at 66 AD.
You've been to Jerusalem,
Yeah, I've been to all these places.
huh? You know, I've never been to Jerusalem. Never know. Good Lord may send me there one day.
This almost had a journey right here. But anyway, just kind of get, if you have a map, it kind of gives everybody an idea.
Yeah, I'm sure I got a map on one of my Bibles at home. This one here, I read out of, because it's not, don't get into this stuff.
It should be on maps.
I mean,
Yeah.